Okay, so on number one, what is I'm gonna mess this word up, Pareto? I can't say it. There it is. Okay, principle. All right, what is that? 80% of outcome. Say it again. 80% of the outcome result in 20% of the causes. Can't talk. 20% of causes. Okay. What does it mean that it is a fractal? Okay, and that's never ending. Like that continues on forever, right? Okay, so it's never ending, and we can take 80% of 80% of the outcomes. I'm so sorry, my pen sucks. And 20% of 20%. And I'll show you what that actually means in just a second. Don't make fun of my handwriting. It's the pen, not me. Okay, so it's never ending. And it says 80% of 80% of the outcomes and 20% of 20% of the causes. You what? Oh, welcome to the club. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm gonna hit erase because that looks like a hot mess. Okay, so what are the three unsimplified ratios? Okay, so this is going to be 80-20. Okay, if you look on your notes, you've got the other fractions. It was 64 and 4. It was, what's the next one? 1 and 51, 51 and 1. Good. Questions on that? Where would that come from? Okay, we'll take a look at it in a second. No, normally it's 80-20, so it's normally the bigger number than the little or smaller number. I do want to mention though, if you flip over on the back page of that, this gives you the breakdown for these. Okay, so look really quick. Here's your 80, here's your 20, here's your 64, here's your 4. It's talking about the outputs. Yeah. Or you could look at it, the top 20% versus the bottom 80%. And then you've got the 51 and you got 0.8, which is really 1. Okay. That's where that's coming from. Okay. All I need you to do is memorize those fractions. I don't expect you to ever draw that chart. Okay. Cool. All right. On number 4, it says at a particular business, 80% of the sales come from 20% of the customers. Okay, so 80% of the sales come from 20% of the customers. 1 month, the business makes $420,000 in sales. Okay, so we're talking about sales. How much was sold to the top customers? So, do you see how this says sales and this says sales? Then that means that you're going to take 420,000 and we're going to multiply by 0.8. Okay. And when you do that, you're going to get 336,000. Good. Okay, so on number 5, it says at a particular business, 80% of the sales come from 20% of the customers. 1 month, the business makes the sales to 1,550 customers. How many customers are responsible for 80% of the sales? So you notice how I circled customers. Okay, so that means that I'm going to multiply 0.2 times 1,550, and that's going to give me 310 customers. Everybody see how I'm doing that? Okay, can you go ahead and try 6, 7, and 8? Go ahead and try 6, 7, and 8. The company has many old copy machines and have to make or pay for an increasing number of service calls, but they can't afford to replace all the machines. An analysis finds that 80% of the service calls are caused by 20% of the machines. If there are 75 copy machines owned by the company, how many should they replace? So 0.2 times 75 gives us 15 machines. Good? Okay, again, I highly suggest circling and underlining and seeing what matches up. That helps me. Okay? You have a rule of you have $8,000 and are investing in a savings account with 4.1%. Use the rule of 72. So 72 divided by our interest rate. Divided by our interest rate. Okay, so 72 divided by 4.1. That's going to give us about 17.6 years. Yes, you can have half a year. That's okay.
I have a question. We don't turn the percent to the decimal at all.
Nope.
Nope.
Not on the rule of 72. Hannah invested in 6,500 into an account that pays 6% simple interest. How much will she have 5 years later? Remember, this is your formula for simple interest. Okay. Biggest mistake that people make on this is that they don't change the percentage to a decimal. And so that's where they have problems. Okay. So 6,500 plus 6,500 times 0.06 multiplied by 5. Be careful with how the question is worded. If this asks, how much will she have after 5 years? We're just going to plug it in and simplify. But let's say that we want to find how much interest she paid instead. We would do this and then subtract from our principal. So everybody see that difference? So again, this would give me an answer of 8,450. Okay. If I asked you, this is not on your paper, but if I asked you how much interest in total, then you would take 8,450 and subtract 6,500. And that would tell you how much your interest is. Good?
So that is to figure out how much interest in total.
Yes.
In total.
Yes.
Okay. So when it just only asks us how much they can have.
Then you just do this formula.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like as if you're asking how much money, like every capital. So it's not
All right. On 9 and 10, you're using compound interest. Take a second, try that. Remember, your compound interest formula is P times 1 plus R divided by N raised to the NT. So you're trying 9 and 10. When you plug this in, you should get 14,532.94. Okay. When we get back from lunch, we'll do number 10. Yay. All right. All right. So back to it. All right. So on number 9, we have this formula, right? And so 10,000 is going to be RP. Okay. Notice how it also says maturity. So that means that at the end, right? Yesterday we talked about future value, present value, same formulas. I don't want you to get caught up in like the variables. Don't get caught up in that. So 10,000 is P, and then R is going to be 0.075. And then monthly, so N is going to be 12, and we're doing this for 5 years. Okay, so we're going to plug that into our calculator. Remember, Desmos allows you to type in the formula, and then you hit the sliders, and then you type those numbers in. Cool. So that should give me 14,532.94. Did everybody get that? Do we need to go through Desmos? Are we okay? Yeah. You need me to? Or you got it? Oh, you got it. Okay, cool. All right. Now, the next one is a little tricky because you got to pay attention to what are they asking you for. So he needs $54,000. That's future investment. Yeah. So, or future value. How much did he deposit? Okay, so that's how much is the principal amount. We're trying to figure out what is P. Yeah. So we would take 54,000 and set that equal to, we don't know what P is, 1 plus our rate is going to be 0.025 divided by it's quarterly, so N is 4, raised to the 4 times 8, because we have 8 years. So you're going to plug that junk into your calculator. You're going to solve for X. Okay. Remember, in the exponent, put parentheses around those guys, because otherwise it gets kind of funky in Desmos. Okay, so take a moment, try that one. Make sure that you can find it. So you should have gotten 44,238.99. Another way to do this kind of quickly without having to like zoom out on Desmos or anything like that is if you take 54,000 and then you divide it by 1 plus 0.025 divided by 4 raised to the 4 times 8. So you take 54,000 and divide it by all the other numbers. Good? Questions? Okay, there are 10 questions on your quiz review. There are 10 questions on your quiz. They're very correlated. Okay? So take about 5 minutes and then we're going to start. Okay? Anybody need me to go over anything? Don't forget to memorize just one of these ratios on number 3. 64, 4, 80, 20. Yep. No. Okay. Yep.
Oh,